Yeah.
Call the meeting to order.
Hopkins. Yes. Burrows.
Yes.
Valpo. Yes. Moreno.
Yes.
Vargas. Yes. We have a quorum.
Can I get a motion to approve the agenda, please?
I will make a motion.
And a second.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Carries. Communication with visitors, we have none currently, so. No, we have none currently. So we'll keep going. Central administration.
No fundraising or bus for trips. The bus purchase. So we budget to purchase one new bus every year, out of Pepple. We sent out bids to get, we usually get a Thomas of International and let's get one, 3 different kinds of buses. We've kind of went the route of gas powered the last couple buses we've purchased. They've been working well for us and they're a little cheaper. So we asked all 3 companies to give us both. Only if you saw from the bid summary, only 2 were able to give us a gas bid. Well, no, only 1 was able to give us a gas bid. In the past, Hoagland has been able to as well, but right now they're not even able to get gas powered motors. And both those other companies we weren't gonna see it till sometime in 2025. So school bus sales is what we're recommending to purchase, the gas powered for $122,550. Significantly less than the other 2 companies as well. Our last purchase was from them as well. It's been working well.
Any questions, comments, concerns?
I guess I'm curious, so our other buses are gas or just half and half or?
The last, we purchased 2 or 3, this might be the 3rd one. That's gas. Our special ed bus we got was the first gas powered one we bought. And then the one we bought last year was gas as well. So the rest of them are diesel that we have on our fleet, but yeah.
Any trends towards electric? Because you've seen that in Iowa City, right? Or some communities?
We're seeing that, hearing about it, I'd like to allow them to work the kinks out and just see how that goes for them first, before we, just go all in, on that. I know just going from diesel to gas, has been a, little shift, there for Roger, but like Abby said, he's really liking the gas models, the drivers like them, so I think they're trending that way now. So we're holding off a little bit on the electric.
Yeah,
Just to see how that shakes out.
I think that's wise.
They did have grants for a free one, right? Like you could put in for it.
There's grants out there right
yeah.
now. I'm not sure what they consist of exactly. But
I mean, that's how most of those schools got it. It's more time to grants. Because they're expensive. That's what they were saying. It might be better for schools to wait too, because they're just phenomenally expensive and eventually the price will go down.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah, that's how a lot of them got the first round.
I assume Roger and Jeremiah are both okay working on either gas or diesel, making sure that they're maintained and all that. And obviously, the better we get towards more gas, then they can have consistency there too. That requires a motion for the bus purchase.
I'll make a motion for the bus purchase.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Carries. Next item is the first reading board policy 606.2 to 607.2.
I did have a question about the insurance. It said that, that the insurance would be provided if a child had special needs. I was just curious of what happens if a child does not have insurance, or is that just like if they do, they have to have the card, and if they don't, we just don't have it? It's just not a big deal, or?
Becky, where are you referring to?
It's
Policy?
the open enrollment one.
606.3.
Yeah.
So receiving district.
Yeah, it's like the only red one in that one. I'm trying to get back to it, but I was reading it.
Page 202, and 606.3. For children requiring special education, the receiving district will complete and provide the resident district the documentation needed to seek Medicaid reimbursement for eligible services.
And
So-
I was just thinking of some students who can't, will not qualify for Medicaid maybe, or services like that, so.
Yeah, I think the nurses complete that, don't they?
And the special ed teachers.
Yeah.
Special ed teacher and the para that works with that individual student, they fill,
Complete their
para fills it out
hours.
and the teacher verifies.
Even if the child, I mean, we have a lot of children that don't qualify for
Yeah.
Medicaid.
So it's
I
not
think
saying they
it's
have
just-
to get it, they just have to do the forms.
It's just saying who's responsible for
That will do the
Doing it.
administrative stuff.
if,
For it.
if they qualify, who's responsible for filling that
Okay,
out.
so they don't have to have the insurance then, that's what, yeah.
And none of ours currently are open enrolled kids, so.
Anything else?
Yeah, I was, so this is this kind of noted part here, where they talk about open enrollment and how approval by either the superintendent, the board, and I guess I'm not clear what that's all about. Is this another policy that we need to address later?
Right now, when somebody applies for open enrollment, there's, if it's approved, it's usually just superintendent signs off, after looking into it, just checking on the student, what the district that they're coming from, and everything is legitimate and, like behavioral or whatever it might be, there's no expulsions in place, suspensions, et cetera, but, generally our practice when the superintendent signs off, but then if we're going to deny one, then it would go to the board, for that approval. This just, I guess, if board is fine with the way it's working, stick with that, or if you want to change that, you could. To where everything would go to you and you guys would have to review them. I would recommend that, but if you want that, you're welcome to, but
No, that's fine.
yeah.
The assistance animals, they kept getting to this assistive animal versus a service animal. I wasn't clear on that distinction. Can you help me with that?
Like when I've been looking up legal documents or anything related to the animals, the assistant animal, service animals, generally, I think the terminology is service. And there's pretty tight requirements for a service animal. They have to have certain training, certain documentation, et cetera. And so I'm thinking when I was reading that, I think that's just what they're doing is they're just taking out any confusion. This could just be assistive animal and it's gonna be a service animal with the service documentation,
Yeah.
et cetera. So just cleaning that up, I think.
Right, and adding in a miniature horse.
Yeah,
Do we have many?
none that I'm aware
Service
of.
animal?
No, I have not heard of any
Any
I'm
horses?
aware of, but they're out there. You can find them,
Yeah.
I was Googling that when I saw that too, just like, where are these? And is this legitimate? But ISD felt it was, I guess, there's enough of that out there to put it into policy and,
Yeah.
it could be a thing. It could be where a student, truly has a disability and they have an animal or little mini horse trained to help them get around and.
Yeah.
So,
We have service housebroken.
yeah.
Has to be housebroken, I didn't see that.
I know, I thought that
Yeah.
was interesting too.
It is.
Well, I was like, thank goodness, I guess. It's gonna be inside the building. Do we just have service dogs now? I didn't think, we didn't have other animals, do we?
There's a few dogs that I'm aware of, maybe
That's what I thought.
2, 3.
We have we have one, but it's through one of our AEA consultants who brings her therapy dog when she comes. He's actually the Saint Bernard. So kids love her.
We have a high school teacher that has one.
Yeah, she's like huge, but is a big baby.
Any other questions? Okay, no action there. We will move to the superintendent report.
Start off with a few commendations. We have girls wrestling. Melissa Sanchez qualified and Emery Alvarado qualified for state. These are state qualifiers. We had 5 total, and we also had Bricia Garcia Vasquez. She's a freshman. She finished in 8th place, got on the podium. Then we had her sister Diani Garcia Vasquez, or Pita. She is a senior and finished 5th place. And was so close to beating an undefeated girl, who's going to Iowa on a full ride. I mean, it was just a great match, went in overtime, and so just a heck of a bout there, and so that was fun to see. Just very competitive. And then her sister Sylvia, who's a junior, Sylvia Garcia Vasquez, was in the championship round and finished 2nd. So, and gosh, talk about a tough kid that she faced too. I think all of her wins were like pins in a minute. And so she lasted almost the entire match with her. And I think she'd wrestled her a couple of times, she had said before, and that was her best against that girl. So definitely headed in the right direction. But how cool, 3 sisters and all on the podium at state. So just kudos to the 5 of those girls for their accomplishments, and I'm sure all the hard work, blood, sweat, and tears that they put in the off season paid off. This year it's getting them into the state tournament there, so pretty cool to see. Mr. Ryan wanted to send out commendation, shout out to his amazing ELL team consisting of Paula Jackson, Alina
Bomana.
Ryan Hayes and Madeline Cunningham and Sheila Pullman. They had a great presentation last week on the ELPA 21 test. I'd also like to commend them for all their preparation they did to get the students ready for the test. They're currently in the middle of the ELPA 21, which takes an entire month to make sure that all students are tested. So big thank you to them. It is an extensive test. There's just a lot of parts to it. Takes a lot of time.
Yeah, and we could add Cindy Gonzalez to that too, our instructional coach who tested all of 4th grade and then was the model for, because Sheila is not here right now, she's out. And so the other 4 ELL teachers are all new, so they've never given this test before, so they all had a chance to watch her give that test to all the 4th grade students, and then they are implementing it afterwards. And so it's a rather extensive test. It's similar to Iowa ISASP in a way, but it takes a while because of the sheer number of ELL students that we have. It's nice to have, it took a month and a half last year because we only had 2 ELL teachers, so it takes a lot less time now that we have a full staff, which is great.
Just elaborate a little bit on that or expand. That doesn't mean like one child is testing for.
Yes, no, it's to get all of our, it takes about a day per student, day and a half, depending on how long they take to answer their questions.
And that is a state mandated test. There's not an option. It's all the students have to take it.
Yeah, so even if a family opts not to, because every family can either opt into ELL services or opt out. But that is one where even if a family opted out, they still have to take that test.
Thank you.
Yep.
Also, big kudos to Mr. Gens. Mr. Gens is not only our assistant principal this year in high school, but also math teacher, freshman math teacher. Gens. So among his many other talents. So, and he's still smiling. We appreciate that. He's here, still smiling. So we'll see. Hopefully he continues that throughout the year. But that is huge. It's really helping us out there in a time of need. And so thank you, Mr. Gens, for doing that. Greatly appreciate it. Also want to give a shout out to Mr. Luria and Mr. Morrison, Roger Morrison and Adam there. It's been a crazy month of weather and just the reschedules, the change in game lineups and rescheduling games and transportation and officials. And so together they have managed to get pretty much everything rescheduled and transportation, almost all of that. So we had a couple things there where maybe we weren't able to get somebody, but the drivers have stepped up and it's been, it's just a lot. There's a lot. Some days there's 3, 4, 5 events going on. And And those drivers give up a lot of time too, nights and weekends, and so we just appreciate all that. Then we did have an event the other day that we didn't get covered. I know parents stepped up and people drove vans and carpooled, and so we made sure everybody could get to the event and still carry on. So we greatly appreciate everybody chipping in. Also a big thank you to our custodians and our maintenance staff for their extra work, just making sure the sidewalks were cleared, had the salt down, ice melt down, parking lots were cleared, and everything was ready for school. Pretty hectic there for about 2 weeks, just getting all of that cleaned and recleaned continually. So kudos to them just for all their extra time and effort that they put in to prepare school so we can just get to the buildings and get inside. And Mrs. Vernon sent thank you to Tanya Gindrich for her role as the 6th grade ELA English language arts teacher, district communications rep, mentor teacher, and BLT member. So just wearing many hats and contributing above and beyond. And then also Maria Galvan for helping out with our new immigrant families to our district. We heard some about that today. And then Knights of Columbus with assistance from Jackie Henderson for the grades 5 through 7 spelling bee. Those winners were grade 5, Jordan Escobedo. Let's see, there's 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place. So in order, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 5th grade was Jordan Escobedo, Danny Seamuth, and David Anderson. And then 6th grade, Paula Acosta Roman, Alex Simon, and Ivor Dong. And then 7th grade, Georgia Clark, Lily Anderson, and Rachel Tharp. So they were in the spelling bee. So kudos to you guys for your placement and participation in that. Let's see, moving on, capital projects. So the athletic complex, one of the big things right now is getting the transformer installed. So schedule a meeting with city, Knutson, myself, we're meeting Thursday just to talk about plans on getting the transformer out. That's been kind of muddy and weather's not been really cooperating. So we're going to figure out something to get that transformer out there and installed as soon as we can. So then we can finish the rest of the project, make sure the lights are working, concession stands completed, ticket booth, all of that. Track striping. We are first on 3 striping companies list for this spring. Fisher Tracks uses 4 companies, and I don't think one of them's around here. So we're first on the top of 3 of the companies list. So as soon as that weather cooperates, should have one of those companies out, and optimistic. Hopefully we can get in that first track meet on April 2nd. I know Mr. Lurie is working on some backup plans, but hopefully we don't have to use those. We could be out here. Siding for the concession stand. I don't know if you've noticed a little siding on, a little siding off. So first crew didn't do the best work. So we had them take the siding off. And they have a new crew out and they're getting new siding ordered. So we'll have brand new siding from the siding that messed up. So right now they're just waiting on new siding. The east side has been redone by the new crew and it looks much better. So now once the rest of the siding gets here, then they'll be finishing up that. So that really shouldn't take them too long. And then final dirt work, we'll have some changes out there just to ensure proper drainage this spring. And then once that's completed, we'll end up doing some hydro mulching, hydro seeding out on the complex. The original plan was just to seed it, basically just throwing seed down and maybe some straw on top. And they did do some of that this fall, but with the timing and I just think that the quickness of that product, how quickly it takes and grows when you do that hydro mulching, hydro seeding, we're just going to switch to do that in a lot of those high traffic areas. Maybe not behind the baseball field or in certain areas, but in all those high traffic areas and inside, it's going to cost a little bit more. We'll have a upcharge a little bit, yes, and $7,000 to $10,000 in that, but I think it'll be well worth it to have that quickly fill in versus just having a muddy mess that everybody's having to trample through this spring. So we think that should help with that. So any questions on any of that? So then last is just legislative updates. I don't know how much you've been seeing or following or reading about that. I know Mr. Moreno went to a forum this weekend. There's the SSB 3073, HSB 542, so the Senate and House versions of the AEA bill and that teacher pay bill. The House didn't move it on, Senate moved it on, but I think they're all in agreement. There's got to be a lot of revisions, so let's go wait and see. And that's just going to continue to be a mess and kind of hang over everybody's head until it's cleaned up and then something's done. I know the AEA and talking with them they're pretty stressed about it, right? And that's their livelihood, those are their jobs. So it's as fast as this came at everybody, just so much unknown. And so, like AEAs don't know, our school's going to use us, so they can opt in and send their money to us, or our school's going to hold on to that money and then hire their own people on staff, or are they going to do partial? And same with some of the media services, they have several tech people working at the AEA and offer internet and other service to districts. We do not use that, but a lot of them do, and they're like, do we hang on to these people? Do we not hang it? Who's going to use us? Who's not going to use us? There's consortiums and we get way cheaper rates by pooling it together through the AEA. Is that going to be around? Is that not going to be around? So like the big thing, the number one big thing that everybody's doing right now is to slow down. So give it some time. Don't change anything this year. You have to make changes. Don't right people sit at the table, talk, make some changes, but slow down. So that's kind of in a nutshell. That's what I know. That's where I'm at. I don't think anybody else is hearing anything different on that. So we'll just keep an eye. We'll continue to watch that. It'd be nice, for budgeting as well, like the teacher pay part of that. That hasn't been talked about much lately. Focus has been more on the AEA side of it. But is that going to go through? Is it not? Is it, where are we at as far as negotiations and all of that? So kind of holding people in limbo a little bit. Some of those items. SSA, that's our increase, our funding. The governor wants 2.5%. Just to put that in perspective, the inflation last year was 9%. Not even close to covering inflation and costs. Luckily, we're sitting decent. We're sitting well because we're going to need that. The state's coming in at 2.5, maybe 3 if we're lucky. Operational sharing, Senate File 2105 would increase operational sharing from 21 to 29. That's a good thing. That'll open up some more avenues to share certain positions. Could be healthcare, could be SRO, could be counselors, teachers, but maybe not teachers, but allows for sharing and just increases that. So I think that one moved forward. It would Senate File 2011 would reinstate the open enrollment deadline. Right now, a child can open enroll at any time. And so we've asked, superintendents, districts, et cetera, have asked, can you have a deadline of March 1st on that? Because it can impact your staff. If you have a lot in, a lot out, all of a sudden you're getting a fluctuation. You don't know when that's happening or who's going where, who's coming in. So the deadline should help a little bit with that planning in the spring. So we'll see if that goes through. Senate File 2010 allows schools to start the week of the 23rd. And I think the other House file, the other bill's wording is like Tuesday after the state fair or the week after the state fair. So the state fair is always that driving force behind when we can start. They say it's due to also the later we start, the better for tourism, et cetera. But I guess what I don't understand is, okay, on the August end of that, I get it. But what about then if we're going to school in June? I think that would impact tourism as well. So I think, one way or another, we're going to educate the children. There's going to be X amount of days. And so how do we shift that calendar I think it's gonna impact one side or the other, but they're talking about letting us start that week of the 23rd. So like next year, the 23rd is on Friday, so we could potentially start Monday the 19th if this goes through. So that would be nice to give us a little leeway there and have some days, a few more days to work with throughout the calendar year. Then the last one I'll mention is Senate File 2075, which would phase in pre-K funding over the next 3 years to be fully funded. Right now, we get half, so a student's worth $7,600, I think, per pupil. You know, right now we get half of that, so this would put that up to the full amount for our pre-K students, which would greatly help. And
Just. I think it's just based on federal poverty level, you know, I think it's all students, so that's
Is
like make it,
okay,
that's one of the. Senate files. So.
every little bit helps.
Mhm.
So any questions on that, or Ed, do you have anything that you want to share from your forum?
I do. So the forum was very interesting. It was jam-packed. The majority of the people were there for the AEA conversation. In fact, they had T-shirts that were all the same color and design. So it was clear that these, our legislators that were there were, like you shared, caught unprepared for this initiative, and we're not happy about that. So, but I think the way you read it is accurate. It's going to happen. Something's going to happen, and it just needs time for people to get at the table that need to be there to help guide this thing through, whatever it is. But it's unfortunate that it went that way because they were not pleased. The other thing there was, that was pretty much the majority of the people there, it seemed like. There was odds and ends, some mobile home parks and stuff, but there were other bills that are being proposed that I think we need to look at as a board that would not be good for our school district or for our community. And they're related to restrictions on new immigrants into Iowa. And one of them has to do with having undocumented students have to pay full tuition. Let me say it, out-of-state tuition to go to school at both, all of the community colleges and also at the state colleges, ISU, UNI, and Iowa. And that's just one. There's other ones too that are very negative towards some of our community. And I think that as a board, we need to maybe go on record that where we stand on that. So I sent some information out. If you could look at it, you know, I think that it's probably important for us to stand for our community and for our students, because this is not going to be beneficial for us, in my opinion. But I'll let you decide what you think. And then maybe we can visit about it later.
And just for, just from working with students who might be undocumented or on limbo and maybe in the process. I mean, they can't get any type of federal aid, they can't get any student aid. So the only thing you can offer them is to make payments, and you're like, you know, this is how, you know, you make payments, you pay monthly, you work hard, you know, and I work with a lot of students who do that. They try their best, and sometimes, I mean, maybe they're in the process, maybe they're getting their paperwork and this helps their like lawyer, you know what I mean? Like helps to show they're a good citizen, they're participating, they're going to grow, and you know, that would take that makes it twice as hard than for them to do that, you know, and a lot of times we just advise them, you know, apply for scholarships that maybe you're qualified for, you know, keep up your grades, you know, just stuff like that. And I just feel like this is just like another blow. It's like before you could just pay $150. I mean, they're still paying, you know, but now it's going to be like $300. And it's just, I just feel like it's unnecessary. I mean, they don't get any benefits anyways, you know, and I just feel like it would just harm them and just kind of move over them. And we don't know what their status, I mean, they could be working towards status. I mean, it's not like they, you know, and now this is just another blow, so. Yeah. I'm not in favor. And just because I've been there, I've been with students, I guess I should say, and it's definitely the hardest thing in the world to work with a student that already feels down about it and then to have to say it again, so. It's just not easy, so. I would be in favor, I don't know, about talking about a statement or something, I don't know how others feel or anything, but it would just maybe show support for our students.
Just in reading the attachments that you sent, I would also be in favor.
How it comes out, or I'm not the best writer.
Trick, it's pretty good.
But-
And it would be all our signature.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah, no, yeah.
so, yeah, and Sean, too. I mean, I think the more support from this district, the better. Because it's clear it's not gonna be good. So, to me,
Yeah, I guess my only hesitation might be that we've never really made a statement towards any of the legislation, and at least in my tenure, I don't know if they had prior. And I'd worry about setting a precedent where this one we would, and then maybe something else that was also equally as important, we wouldn't. Probably unintentionally, would just be, we overlooked it or something, that could cause some dismay, so I would want to consider it and think about the repercussions and of making a statement as a board towards really anything, not even this action specifically, just as a whole. It sets a little bit of a precedent. It's my only concern, but definitely worth considering, and I think we can go down the avenue of understanding what we want to do as a board.
Yeah.
But thank you for sending that over, though. I mean,
Yeah.
it's always helpful.
yeah, it was quite the meeting there, so, yeah, these legislators were interesting. I did go to the mic, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes, so I let them know what I thought.
Anything else from that end?
Nope.
And then, yeah, just to add on to what Abby said about, thanks for catching that, the pre-K weighting would be 185%. Students that are below 185% of the poverty. Then that would be that full funding.
The nice thing is that it would help out the students that need it the most, right?
Absolutely.
It might be interesting to see how that would affect like our Head Start program. And who they capture and. For sure.
The last, our wellness committee met today. Ed and Audra are part of that as board members who represent that committee. It was just, we did reports from various groups, counselors, resource navigators, et cetera. Discussed a few items, and so I just reiterate a little bit of what I said in that meeting. I think it was just awesome to see all the great things that we have supporting our students just beyond math testing and reading, you know, our ISAS scores that show up on our school report card or whatever it is. I mean, there's just so many great impactful resources and community work and just work by our school personnel, partnering with different community resources, et cetera, that are in place, helping students and families every day. That's kind of sometimes I think that stuff can get overlooked. So focused on the academics, but man, there's just a lot of things going on there that really help our kids out a lot. So appreciate all they do. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add on to that, but
Well, maybe you could share a little bit about the dual language program 25th anniversary and what you had shared previously that we were going to be acknowledging that.
yeah, so this is our 25th anniversary year of the dual language program. And so we have been working on a video to promote the dual language program, and that is completed. So that is going out either today or tomorrow to kind of kick off that celebration. And then our communications committee met, and we're talking about ways to celebrate the dual classrooms, dual language 25th anniversary. So we'll be spotlighting and highlighting some of those various activities and the instruction, et cetera, throughout the next 3-4 months. Another thing, Ms. Arthur Miller met with the dual language teachers. And a lot of times throughout the year, they'll do little celebrations, little cultural celebrations. And so they're talking about ways to just how to enhance those and showcase some of the cultural celebrations that go along with the dual language teaching and instruction as well. So I think there should be some neat items coming out and just good ways of showcasing and highlighting the dual language program in its 25th year.
Thank you. Next item is personnel.
We have a retirement on here from Kim Lilly at the end of this school year, after many years with the district. Few resignations from football and then a new hire.
I didn't hear the end of that. What'd you say?
I said, and then a few resignations
Okay.
from football and then.
Yeah.
Same.
I read it, I'm sorry to see.
And that is an action item to accept the personnel.
I'll make a motion to accept the personnel.
And a second,
I'll second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Carries. Future agenda items, the next board meeting is February 19th, 6 p.m., same place. We'll have the consent agenda, budget guarantee resolution, and then the second reading of the board policies that we discussed today. As always, if there's anything that comes up between now and then, let us know and we'll get it added to the agenda. I can entertain a motion to adjourn with that.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All there say aye.
Aye.
Adjourn 6:37.